My name's Larissa.
My name is Matt Zarras.
I'm Robin Loewald.
I'm Chris Wall.
In our first episode, we explored how Team CurePSP came to be, how a vision for awareness and purpose led to a budding community after just one race. But who are the people who actually step up to take on this challenge? What makes people so quick to say yes before they even know that they can do it? For Robin Loewald, running is a family tradition. Her grandfather ran, her grandmother was a gym teacher, the whole family gathered every Thanksgiving for their annual turkey trot, and most importantly, Robin ran countless races alongside her mom.
Our whole family is really into running and athletics in general, and I ran many races with my mom, which was amazing.
When her mom was diagnosed with PSP in 2020, that running connection became Robin's way to stay connected to her and cope with the uncontrollable situation. The Loewald family decided to fundraise for CurePSP before Team CurePSP even existed. In the fall of 2022, just months after Robin's mom passed away, she and her father ran the Maine Marathon together in her memory.
We ran, as a family, we ran the Maine Marathon and half marathon. My dad and I ran that together, and we raised a bunch of money. And we ran that in honor of my mom right after she passed away. And yeah, one of the last things that I said to my mom was like, this race is for you. I'm running these miles for you. So every mile is for her.
So when the email arrived about Team CurePSP's launch, Robin's response was immediate.
I almost started tearing up just at the possibility of running for Team CurePSP. It just felt like it was right. As a runner, as my mom having been a runner.
For Chris Wall, running began as an escape. When his father was diagnosed with PSP in 2016, Chris found himself searching for something to cope with watching the progressive symptoms affect a loved one.
I used to just go to the gym all the time and just lift, but I got kind of sick of it, and I decided to start running outside.
That outdoor running became his mental therapy, a way to process what his family was going through. As his passion grew, so did his ambitions. He circled the Boston Marathon, but needed a charity spot to get in. Years before Team CurePSP existed, Chris had actually reached out to the organization asking if they had any marathon bibs available. The answer was no, because they were too small at the time. So Chris found other charities, accomplished his Boston Marathon goal, and thought he was done with marathons entirely. Then, years later, that email about Team CurePSP's launch arrived in his inbox. The timing felt too perfect to be a coincidence. The application deadline fell on his father's birthday. If accepted, training would begin on Father's Day.
It struck a chord right away. So it was all this weird timing thing of seems almost like a kind of destined thing to do.
Chris filled out the application within an hour. Though he didn't get accepted initially and was waitlisted, 2 months before the race, he got the call. Someone had gotten injured and there was a spot available. After thinking he was retired from marathons, Chris was back in. Matt Zarras' father's PSP diagnosis in late 2021 brought with it a question many family members face. How do you channel your desire to help into meaningful action? Matt could support his dad, be there for him, make sure he was comfortable, but he was searching for a way to make a real impact. When his sister forwarded him that first Team CurePSP email, Matt felt something he hadn't experienced since the diagnosis.
It was the first time since the PSP diagnosis that it gave me the opportunity to do something and try to be impactful.
Matt's response was immediate.
Absolutely, I'm going to run this marathon.
His sister was skeptical.
And she was like, you can't even run.
Matt, already inspired by the cause, was unfazed.
I'm like, it doesn't matter.
But Matt's marketing background came alive when it was time to apply. He wasn't going to leave anything to chance.
I didn't want to just drop an application because I needed to be able to connect with your team on paper that, hey, this guy's serious.
Matt wrote out a marketing plan, launched social media campaigns, and had industry friends reach out to CurePSP on his behalf. He was determined to show that he could spread CurePSP's mission to those outside of the direct network. Larissa Auble Burgoyne's journey began with confusion. Her father had been diagnosed with Parkinson's 7 years earlier, but a little over a year ago, that diagnosis changed to PSP.
When we first found out my dad's diagnosis, I really didn't know much about it. So I Googled, I looked up online, and CurePSP came up.
She reached out and received an information packet that became her foundation for understanding what her family was facing. When Larissa got into the New York City Half Marathon through the lottery, her father was still alive. She knew immediately what she wanted to do with that opportunity.
I knew that I wanted to have my run be for a purpose, and I wanted to raise money for CurePSP.
By the time race day arrived in March, her father had passed away in December. But Larissa's determination only grew stronger. She became an unofficial Team CurePSP member for the half marathon, raising money and awareness for a cause that had become deeply personal to her story.
it was just an amazing feeling to know that I'm doing something that's going to make a difference for so many people affected by this disease and also their families.
4 different people, 4 different relationships to running, but when that email arrived, something clicked for all of them. Getting accepted to Team CurePSP was the first hurdle, but now came a challenge perhaps even more daunting than the 26.2 miles. A months-long fundraising campaign with goals ranging from $2,500 to over $10,000. For Robin, the main marathon fundraiser was a little different. Her mom had just passed, and the whole family was asking together. But this time, it was on her.
That was our first and my first fundraiser.
Matt was still new to running, let alone running for a cause.
That was my first time ever doing fundraising like that.
These first-time fundraisers had to figure out how to actually execute, and they each developed their own approach. Matt focused on awareness over the hard sell.
For me, it's never been a sales pitch for money. It's been more, even if you can't do anything right now, if you give me 3 to 5 seconds to at least tell you what PSP stands for, I've educated you today.
Chris found that the connections he was building were as important as the money he was raising.
I don't just like to ask for money, say thanks, and move on. I like to kind of reach out, at least personally, make them try to do something to connect, and we're more willing to give if they understand there's something to follow, there's something to cheer for.
Matt broke the overwhelming goals down into manageable pieces.
I think it can be daunting if you literally try to look at the whole sum. Instead, you got to break it down.
He set incremental goals.
My goal is to not go 14 days without one person making a donation, whether it even be $5.
And he reminded potential donors that every contribution counted.
Some people are always like, oh, I can't give you $100 right now. I'm not asking you for $100. Give me a cup of coffee. Give me $5-6. You know, every dollar really counts.
Robin got creative. After feeling like she'd already asked her network multiple times, she organized a cornhole tournament in her childhood home's backyard.
I think we had 10 different cornhole sets going and had a big tournament style. There was like a $20 buy-in. And then I made a bunch of gift baskets that we did raffles for and just took general donations as well. And that was hugely successful. I think I raised like almost $2,000 from that one event. And they were like, I think I had almost 100 people there, which was awesome and really cool. And it was just a fun time. Everybody afterwards was like, oh, is this going to be annual?
Matt partnered with local businesses.
We have local meat markets that love to partner with nonprofits. And so we would do like brat cookouts, you know, at the local meat market all weekend, have raffles to win prizes that people had donated.
These events sparked invaluable conversations. People would ask what the fundraiser was for, and suddenly Matt had an opportunity to explain PSP to someone who had never heard of it. But to get people to connect with such a deeply personal cause, the most powerful fundraising tool might be something they'd been doing all along, telling their loved one's story. Matt made his campaign deeply personal, sharing weekly updates about his training alongside his father's journey.
I wanted everyone to feel like they were on this team together, like, hey, we're all going to New York, we're all going to run a marathon together.
The emotional connection transformed what could have been transactional asks into shared missions. When people donated, they were becoming part of Matt's story and part of his father's legacy. He experienced something he never expected when strangers who'd gone to high school with his dad or worked with him decades ago found him through his social media campaigns.
They'd call and tell me stories that I'd never heard before. And I mean, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I learned things that I had no clue about. He had done things under the radar for people and helped them out. And he wasn't looking for the spotlight. He wasn't looking for glory. It's just the type of person he was. He was always trying to help others.
What started as fundraising became a way to discover who his father had been before PSP changed everything.
I've had some really good conversations with people, and I've stayed connected with a lot of people after the fact that were a part of my dad's life and now are a part of my life.
Larissa found profound meaning in unexpected places. Some donations came in anonymously.
Meant a lot to me because it was obviously somebody that cared enough to support me in my cause and support CurePSP, but they didn't need the recognition. They didn't want the acknowledgement. They just wanted to help.
She explained what made the fundraising experience meaningful beyond the money.
Being honest and personal about my experience, watching somebody that I love very much going through it, being honest and personal makes people lean in and listen to you. Stats are important, facts are important, but being honest and and personal with somebody, I think there's a lasting effect with that.
The lesson these first-time fundraisers quickly discovered: when you're asking people to support something this personal, you're not just raising money. You're building community around a cause that desperately needs it. And sometimes, in the process of telling your loved one's story, you discover parts of them you never knew existed. Becoming a Team CurePSP runner means joining something larger than yourself. These are not professional athletes or seasoned fundraisers. They're family members, care partners, and community members who found a way to repurpose their grief and determination into action. But getting to the starting line is only half the story. In our next episode, we'll follow these runners through the emotional and physical journey from training through race day, the moments that push them through, the support that carries them, and what it feels like to cross that finish line running for something bigger than yourself. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Collective Mind. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow and rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever else you get your podcasts. To learn more about Team CurePSP and ways to get involved, click the link in the episode description. I'm your host, Oscar Sullivan. Talk to you again soon.